We're on?
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Go live.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Welcome to the regular meeting of the East Hampton Town Trustees on February 22nd. And I'd like to open with the national anthem. Or not national, I'm sorry, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with
liberty,
justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Arlene, can you do roll call, please?
Sure. John Aldred.
Yeah.
Francis Bach.
Here.
Ben Dollinger. I heard him.
I see.
Yeah.
He is here.
I see Ben. Yes. And Rick Drew.
Here.
Tim Garneau.
Tim's won't be here tonight.
Okay. And Jim Grimes.
Jim will be here in a minute.
Oh, good. Okay. Mike Martinson.
Here.
Susan McGraw-Keeber.
Here.
And William Taylor.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Chris Carrillo will not be attending tonight. He's out of town and has very little internet service. If we do need him for any reason, we can call. All right. We'll start with public comment. Matt, is there anybody on the line?
Nobody yet. Thank you.
Okay. We have Chris Boak.
Yes. Hang on one sec. Chris and Kathy Boak. Yeah. I'm Kathy.
Hi, Kath.
My
Hi,
husband's
Kathy. How are you? I'm Francis.
Yeah. Hi, Francis. How are you? I know you. I'm
Good.
Kathy Buckley.
Yep. Oh, okay.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, really. So you want to talk about the road? Is that or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can, do you want me to go through it right now?
Yeah, sure.
So my husband and I have for 20 years owned a cottage on the Sand Road off of Shore Road in Lazy Point. And along with our neighbors, our road uses the trustee road to access our property. And for the last couple of years, there's been a puddle at the bottom on the trustee part of the road for a long, long time, and it's gotten worse. My husband called a couple of times about it a few years ago, but now it's gotten to the point where it's actually eroding the dune because the puddle just keeps getting larger and larger. It's sinking. And it's eroding the dune both on the north side, which abuts the beach area, and then also on the other side, which is also trustee property. And there are 3 or 4 residents on the road that are full-time, including our son who lives at our cottage full-time. And most of them are senior citizens, with the exception of, I guess, us and our son. And it's become difficult. That thing fills with water and during heavy storms, and even when they're not so heavy at this point, because the hole has gotten so deep. So I called the trustees. I spoke to Rick and explained the problem and wondered if the trustees might help us by filling in the hole in a way that would be, acceptable to you, and, covering it with sand so that we could continue to access our property and to stop the erosion of the dune on the beach that is used by all the residents of Lazy Point, which is right next to the dune.
Of our road, not all.
Yeah, right next to our road at the end of the road that actually belongs to you, where we access our property.
So this portion of the road is not blacktopped?
No, it's just a sand road. Right.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Francis.
Yeah.
Francis, it's Rick. I'm pretty familiar with that section of the road, and it's right where you kind of hit the beach after you go past Pond of the Pines, and you can make the right to go down to the boat ramp, or you make the left. You're right on the bay there. And I believe we do, have property on both sides of the road. I know there's the Seaside Cottage is definitely a Lazy Point lease, and I think the first house on the left maybe as well. If not, the shoulder and the corner of the road is.
The first two
So
cottages.
I think it makes sense for us to participate in some way. Kathy, have you been able to get any prices or anything on what it might cost to do? You know, maybe there's some way we can all work together.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. I just jumped on Jim Grimes. Hey, you know what? We can get some pricing on this pretty quickly. I know the area that we're talking about. Rick, maybe you and I can run down there, but I think we can put some pricing together or get somebody to give us pricing on this pretty quick. And maybe what we can do is, rather than this dangle till the next meeting, we could just do a little communication between the board members.
That sounds good to me, Jim.
I mean, it's such a small section. It shouldn't really be a big deal for us to.
We have any,
Yeah.
we have any kind of an access easement with the private road beyond? I mean, I'm assuming we own a stretch, and then after that, it's private,
Yes.
where
Right.
our full-time residents live.
Yeah. Now this.
Hey, John, we usually do have easements in place on roads, even if the users of the road don't take access the whole way. So at some point, you know, we do need to get the easements in place. I don't know that that's something that has to be tied to this particular project, but Kathy and I did start to talk about that. And I think it's in everyone's best interest down there to, you know, make sure they have proper ingress and egress to their property. Going forward, it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just asking if we have one, and I was going to go and further and basically reiterate what you just said, that if we don't, we should.
All right.
Yeah, I think we can get there.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of this conversation. Exactly where are we talking about?
Jim, down at the end of the road there, where Shore Road turns hard to the right by Mary's house.
Oh,
And if
okay.
not, you
I got
go
the
left.
pic. This is the pic. This is the picture. Yeah, this is the area a couple of years ago when I first got on the board. I went down there and pushed all that sand back up over the dune onto the beach. Okay. All right.
All right. I'll text you to set up a meeting.
Yeah, this is really minimal. I don't need Rick. I don't know that I necessarily even need you down there. I know exactly what we're talking about here.
Yeah. No, it sounds good.
Kathy, it
Let me
sounds
know
like
if
we're
you
going to
want
take
to
care
hand,
of
you want
it.
to get together.
Okay.
Terrific.
All right. Terrific. Just email us and let us know. We really appreciate the help and you know, look forward to working with you.
Okay, great.
Good night,
We'll
Kathy.
probably hop off. Thanks very much.
Good luck.
Okay,
Nice to see
thank you.
Good night, guys.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Matt, do we have anyone else on the line? In the waiting room?
We still have 0 callers, Francis. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Billy Mack, you're not here. Where are you? I guess we're moving on to new business.
I'm not.
We have an app. What? I'm sorry.
Billy Mack was going to come here just for renewal of a Bluff restoration permit.
Okay.
We need him to talk about it and vote on it.
Yeah, and this is on Hedges Banks.
60
An area we'd like to discuss.
2 years ago, we gave him a renewal last year, and the work didn't get done, and he's just asking for another renewal for this year.
Okay.
And it's, you know, he's got
Nothing's changed with it, right?
no, it's the same permit we issued
Same
2
thing.
years ago.
Do you want to make them?
He's got DEC permit that's good till 2026, and he doesn't yet have an extension of the natural resource special permit, but he applied for it last month. He's expecting to get a 2-year extension on that. So I'm comfortable making a motion that we grant a renewal of the 2019 permit for 60 Hedges Banks Lane.
I'll
Do we know why the work wasn't done? What's holding it up?
Well, this past year was COVID related. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Can't remember what the first year was. I think they just didn't get it together. The first.
Mhm.
Between
I'm happy to second your motion, John.
Okay, so John made a motion to extend the permit. We have a second by Susan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
I'd just like to
opposed?
say, go ahead. I'd just like to say that, I when we send the permit to Billy, I'm going to just emphasize the condition that we get 48 hours notice so that we can go down there and meet with them, given the problems we've had in that area with debris. And also, and I spoke to Billy about this, but in the permit and in the application, it calls for biodegradable mesh to be used. So I just want to re-emphasize that as well.
Well, do we want to, while we're on it, just segue into that?
Fine, however you want to deal with it.
Well, it's like 2 items down the list, so.
Oh, let's finish the vote. I don't think we got everyone else. Motion by John Aldridge, seconded by Susan, and we'll put this condition in and make sure they stick with it.
In there already, but.
Yeah, well, we'll emphasize it.
We voted and no one was opposed.
Thank you.
Okay. So John, you want to describe what that problem is in a little more detail?
Sure. So we've gotten some calls and emails with photographs of debris on the beach, most of, if not all of which is plastic mesh that seems as though it's come from failing bluff restoration projects along Hedges Banks. And there's quite a bit of it, and there seems to be more of it washing up all the time.
John, have we traced this back to a singular residence?
There's no way of knowing where it came from.
Well, is there any existing debris in any of the bluff faces along Hedges Banks there that lead you to believe this is the origin of the stuff?
The last I looked, there was definitely one that was failing, and it had plastic mesh as far as I could tell, but it was not. It was still on the bluff. That was a while ago, a few weeks ago, and I think there's been more damage since then. I haven't driven down that way since the first time I went, but I've seen. The pictures we've gotten showed a lot more debris on the beach than what I saw when I looked at it about a month ago or so.
Is this possibly from nor'easters or inclement weather as opposed to actual ownership of the houses? Maybe debris washing ashore?
No, Susan, I remember when the first emails on this came in, I actually reached out to the woman that sent it and she just didn't respond. But it appeared that this was coming from bluff restoration projects that had actually sloughed off, and this was part of the remediation. And I don't know why. I don't recall our board ever approving any plastic products to be used as part of bluff face restoration. But this may predate, us being on the board. And was this even part of a permitted project? Those are the questions I had. What are we really looking at here?
Well, I think my feeling is there's really very little way to know and be able to answer the questions you just raised. They're the perfect questions, but I don't know how we can ascertain what came from where. And I'm familiar with the products that are out there. There's several different manufacturers, and a lot of times it's pretty easy to see
basically who got what from where. And if you can match it up to a portion of the material left at an existing property, then the next step is do a check on the status of permits, whether there's any permit history on the property. If there is not, it may very well be an illegal installation. I'd be kind of surprised if it is, only for the fact that the ZBA, even if our board missed it with the proposed material, the ZBA is pretty disciplined about that.
We had Francis and I had a long conversation with Kim and John Jelnicki, and I had a conversation with Mike Delalio, and you know the ZBA is also requiring biodegradable mesh. It's right in the code.
No, they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. So, I mean, these could be very old. They could be illegal. They could be permits that were never, looked at before the work started, and plastic could have been used in place of biodegradable. It could be anything, really.
Yeah.
But with our conversation, we've been told that there's some issues with contractors not notifying the ZBA or the planning department that they're about to start these projects. So they don't get the opportunity to go down and take a look as they begin and look at the materials they're using.
Yeah, but hey, Francis, you still got to close out the permit. But
by then it's buried.
Yeah, but hang on. No, it's not. I'm not going to buy into that argument. Okay. It's one of those things that if somebody's using a material that wasn't part of the permit description, it's not that difficult to ascertain that, because these things typically are not buried. They are visible. There's portions of them that are visible the day the project's completed. So I don't know. I don't see it as that hard to figure out.
The question I have is, I'm not sure what authority we have over the Bluff restoration. Actually, the permits we get are usually for the staircase because it lands on the beach. Yeah. And quite often the Bluff restoration is wrapped into the permit.
Yeah, but John, we don't have, I understand what you're saying, but it is litter on our beach. And, I've always found the ZBA, the planning staff, to be pretty accommodating when we're trying.
Hey, John.
But my point is, are we getting requests to sign off on Bluff restoration?
No, we're not.
Going to the ZBA.
No, we're not, and we're not asking to.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Hey, John, are we talking about the same subject property or that general area facing north on Gardner's Bay?
Hedges Banks area, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we should double check because, the cleft was the boundary of a lot of transactions. So it is possible that, there are ownership rights over there because some of that stuff did wrap around the Cedar Point area and the allotments.
Ownership rights of the Bluff?
Possibly. If it was to the cleft, like a lot of Northwest was.
Well,
we can check with Steve. He's been digging all that stuff up. So if you want, we could check with him. If that impacts this at all, I'm just saying it's a possibility.
I've seen a variety of surveys that came along with applications, and none of them include the Bluff. I mean, they all include the Bluff. Some of them go to the high water mark. Some of them go to the Bluff.
Right. Yeah, they're a little inconsistent. All right. Well, you know what? We have a resource. I'll do a little double checking, but in any event, please continue.
9968. Anybody else have anything on this?
Well, I guess just to follow up on the conversations we've had with the town, we've also communicated with Parks Department, who's, about helping out with cleaning this stuff up. A lot of it is half buried in sand and really is almost impossible to get out by hand. and they've been responsive. They're trying to work on fitting it into their schedule. Francis and I met with Kim and John, and Francis had a follow-up conversation with David Lease. So we're moving forward on, trying to get it cleaned up and trying to tighten up the whole Bluff restoration permitting and follow-up process with the town. And I think we need to be a lot more on top of these things as they're being constructed and just, as they're finished up, to make sure they're done the way they said they should be done.
Yeah, I agree. I think we have to be more proactive on these. Okay. Anyone else?
No, but John, if you need a hand cleaning it up down there, I'll bring my truck down there and just pick up obvious stuff that might get in the water or something. So I'll be around this Saturday if you want to get together down there.
My intention is to wait to see what Parks comes up with, because based on the last set of pictures I got from the residents down there, there's an awful lot of stuff on the beach.
All right. I'm just saying if we can keep it from
I
getting
went
in the
down there
water.
trustee truck a couple of times thinking I'll pick up, what I can find and get going on it. And
Yeah.
just, it's a pretty big job.
Right. Okay. Well, keep me posted if you want to try and do something.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. New business, Acabana Cog Creek. We have an application from Joel Halsey to legalize the replacement of a boat basin walkway at 19 Isle of Wight Road, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-37-2-6. Was Joel going to be here tonight?
Francis, this is Rick. I don't think
Yeah.
Joel's ready to meet with us. If he does pop on, that's great. I did meet the homeowner down there and had a rather detailed conversation with Joel on the phone. He was away with his family at the time that I did the site visit. And it's a very well done basin. It looks more like something you'd find kind of like in a Lindenhurst canal, where it's a full horseshoe with nice top decking and, very well done, vinyl sided along the water's edge on three sides. And a good job. The little bit of a disconnect is where we kind of came from to get here, since we never had a application. And I think it was 2018 when it was rebuilt in some form. I'm just not sure at the moment, and the information may be out there and Joel may be getting it as we speak, as to exactly what was there before. So Joel is, doing a little homework, getting some paperwork together. He's been very nice to work with. And, we just need to see a little more information, I think, before I can put it together and share with the whole board. I did send some pictures to the committee via the office. I hope you got them. And if not, there are pictures with the office. Thank you.
We seem to be getting a number of these retroactive approvals for jobs that have been done, and they just expect us to accept them as they are and give them the permit. I think we need to.
It is a tricky situation.
And we don't have the ability to find people for doing this stuff. I think we need to get a couple of people together and discuss how to address these in the future, because, it's problematic.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help you with that, Francis, because I do a lot of site visits, and Jim and I are out in the field quite a bit and go through the permits. So, I'd be happy to help. Maybe we can have a different structure or requirements list, something a little different.
From what I understand happened here, because Joel did call me about this before he submitted, was that this was a project that they did not, they did not do. This has come up. They basically have been handed this flaming bag of dog crap post-construction. And the understanding that Joel conveyed to me is that the property owner had gotten DEC permits, thought that they were good with just that. They used an out-of-town contractor, just plain and simply didn't ask the right questions and say, hey, do you have this permit? Do you have that permit? And that's how this got done. That's how it was conveyed to me. I'm not sure. I think there might be a pending sale or something involved in this, or this is a new property owner. There's something that triggered this mea culpa. It wasn't just just a fact that we discovered this and we decided to bring it to us. There's some history behind it.
Yeah, Joel approached us. Like I said, he's been very nice, and I think he just needed some time to get his documentation together. So I think we'll be seeing him at the next meeting, and I'm sure I'll be speaking with him before then. And let's give him a chance to get the paperwork to us so we can take a good look at it.
Yeah,
I just want to let you know. Oh, I was going to say I looked it up. It's a Corcoran listing for sale. It's a new listing for sale.
Okay. I knew it had to be something along those lines.
Yeah, I kind of think Francis's point is well taken. You don't really want to encourage work being done and then ask to be permitted for, and then the consequences are just the price of doing business. I mean, it's just going to be cascading effect if we're.
No, it is, and this is, John. This is a tough one because it really. I mean, when somebody's basically doing a project with part of the permits, Christ, I know I can't do anything that I don't have code enforcement at the very least call or stop by just to check and make sure everything's all right. I think this is a little bit unique in the fact that they were able to pull this off in 2018.
Yeah, but apparently it's not so unique. We had this the second one in the past month.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And I mean, the other one was a case where you had a property owner who truly should have known better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the answer on that one was. I mean, on that other one, quite frankly,
that's still getting researched. I think they're going before natural resources.
Yeah,
they're going to try to get that the upland piece of this legitimized.
When Rick and I looked at it, it really when you look around, this is one of those cases. Nobody else has what's there.
No, actually, there's one just up the street from it. It's smaller, but it's a similar design.
But I mean, it just seems to me unnecessary, and I don't really understand why anybody would have permitted it in the first place.
Yeah, I looked on. I went back on the overheads on the GIS program, and back in the 80s, it was there.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
it's been around a while.
Well, it just goes to show when you transfer a property and you don't put an easement over a piece you're trying to be a good neighbor with and donate it, and then you end up, getting yourself boxed out. So I think the former owner didn't really do the right paperwork and got ahead of themselves. And they could have, by all rights, had either a strip of land and, full ownership, or at the very least an easement, because they did own it at one point. So, importance of getting your easements in place.
All right. Anybody have anything else on that? Matthew Chapman. Do we have anyone on the phones?
0 callers, Francis. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Move on to old business. Kayak racks and moorings, rules and regulations. Anything new on that?
Well, I sent around the list as I was asked to do at the last meeting. Last meeting, I went over all the points. Was asked to send around a list. I sent around a list of points. I'd kind of like to just go through the list, and to tell you the truth, I don't want to beat this to death again another meeting, so I'm just going to read the point, and my intention is to make a motion that we accept this as something that we give guidance to the office about and go through it, if that's okay.
I looked them over, and I want to say I think you did a very good job in pointing out all the issues that we discussed over time, and I thought it looked like a very detailed, good list. So thank you, John, and everyone who worked on it.
Okay, so the first point is kayaks are stored on the racks upside down, secured to the rack with a locked strap, with the recommendation that the kayak be strapped down with bungee cords as well. So I make a motion that we include this in the application form.
Second that, because that was my suggestion, to strap them down. I'm happy.
We're making a motion on each point.
Yeah,
Can we,
I mean, I don't want to belabor it. I'll do it however you want to do
I think
it.
by doing it on each point, we are belaboring it.
Each point.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that?
Yeah, John, I think this has been, reviewed by everyone. I think we're pretty good.
Yeah, so if you
Yeah,
want to,
just read off the points and then we'll vote on the.
All right, second
whole thing.
point is weight limit of 75 pounds on any kayak on any rack. Third point is requirement that the owner's name and contact information be written on the boat, either in the cockpit or on a Coast Guard sticker, clearly visible. The next point is date for removal of the kayaks to be November 15th. Next point is, and this is not one that's a vote, this is one that we have to, well, there's no, well, it's the relocation of the racks that were taken out. The Nature Preserve Committee suggested they go on the south side of the parking lot opposite the launching ramp. We have to decide if we want to put them there, and if so, how many? I think 3 came out. We never really reached any consensus on this.
I personally don't like that location.
well,
You're just setting them up to be stolen as far as I'm concerned. And it's just going to be another headache.
That's kind of my feeling too. Plus, I'm not sure how people would feel about them there anyway. It's a hike to the launching ramp, and I'd be concerned about vandalism or theft myself if I had one there. So it's either.
Well, I think we should try one somewhere. I mean, John, what do you think about the end of Alewife Brook Road next to the split rail fence that created the little parking area on the right side? There's some shoulder there inside the fence. It's kind of up against the fence on one side. And,
That's northwest, right?
This is actually.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying as another option. I'm sorry if you want to continue on the other site, but I may have missed something. Sorry.
Well,
but we can come back to this in a minute.
Yeah, we could. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. I'd kind of like to stick to just this is an academic issue about what happens to those 3 racks that were there. And then, the Nature Preserve Committee doesn't want them where we thought they might go. And this is their.
So do we have a recommendation from the local people that are not in favor of this?
Here's the deal, guys. If John hasn't conveyed this earlier, is, we own the beach. Okay, we can put these things on our beach, basically wherever we'd like. Okay, there was a management plan that was adopted by the Nature Preserve Committee some 10 years ago on this property that basically, in the language in that management plan is almost specific. There are no kayak racks. Some members of the Nature Preserve Committee feel very strongly about that. Some members are somewhat amenable to these racks going on some other location, and it seems like it's the consensus of the Nature Preserve Committee that the area opposite the launching ramp is acceptable to them. So I think our choices are pretty simple here. We either pick a spot on our beach that we say, hey, this is where we're going to put them, or if we're going to put them on property that is not ours, we respect that Nature Preserves Committee's opinion there, and perhaps maybe we try one rack or two racks over there. Or we start to try and encourage some of the kayak owners to utilize other areas and flat out cap out the number of kayak racks that we're willing to put at any one spot.
I don't think we have any more room on any beach around Laos.
No, and that's how, and John, that's how we ended up with those last couple of racks down at the inlet there. Is, we had put a couple racks down there, then we added a couple more racks, and then we were basically working our way north along the beach. I don't know that there's any area or any beach area south of that we could sneak a rack or two in.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So
I think, it pretty much turns to marsh.
Yeah.
South of where the last rack is.
Yeah. No, I that's kind of the conclusion we came to last year, which is how we ended up where we are.
Well, this is not necessarily something we have to decide on tonight, this particular issue.
Well,
hey, John, maybe we can all make a list of sites and send them in to you for the next meeting.
Yeah, that's fine, but I think we have to deal with this Acabonic Louse Point site.
Yeah, even other sites, Landing Lane, whatever. I mean, there's not a ton of them, but the Bay side we kind of nixed last time, but I don't know, that may have to be back on the table.
Yeah. Hey, guys, there is some timeliness here because Arlene has got to, I'm sure she's probably starting to field some inquiries about spots on the racks, and we really need to know how many slots we're going to have before we do a lottery on this. So maybe we can make the commitment now to decide this by the first meeting in March.
Yeah. I'm gonna go down there and drive around the harbor and make some notes on a map.
That would be the 8th of March. Okay. You want to continue with your list, John?
Yeah. Stand-up paddle boards is the next issue. So far we're only allowing kayaks on racks, and the question here is, do we want to try some devoted paddleboard racks in some locations? And I sent around a few links to some commercially available racks. Most of the ones that you buy, either aluminum or galvanized or stainless steel, cost in the range of $200 to $250 per kayak that you could put on one. So they're about, an 8 place rack would cost about $1,800. Mm-hmm. We could do is try a sort of a homemade design out of Schedule 80 PVC, where they kind of sit in there like slices of bread into.
Yeah. Hey, John, I think I'm not really on the Schedule 80 PVC. I think probably there'd be some issues with the public on that. I'm going to be honest. I think it might look too kind of cheesy. Even some of those metal racks.
Industrial.
It's a look that I don't think is the town of East Hampton, the trustees.
You can do it with wood.
Yeah, no, but it was.
Wood
posts. John, I think it was good in the sense it gives us some idea of the overall design.
Yeah, the articles are great.
Yeah, and I think we could come up with something that is cost effective, and let's try maybe 3 of them and put one at a couple different locations and see what kind of response the public has to them.
So what are we going to do at Louse Point?
We're going to decide that on the 8th of March, Francis.
Just to jump in,
Arlene, I got it.
Okay.
But the
I don't think,
lotteries,
yeah.
No, we could put a paddleboard rack in place of one of the kayak racks. If we have,
All right.
if paddleboards. Something along the lines of a bike rack might, yeah.
Well, I think for the paddle boards, what we're really going to be looking for is a lot what John described earlier, is a design that allows for a lockup on whatever's going on here, you know, and some of those stand-up types don't really allow that, you know, that's more for like your backyard storage kind of a situation. But I'm sure we can come up with something that's
we all,
I'm gonna,
one second, Susan.
sure.
We all got a text that the lottery is set for March 15th. That's the week after the
which is exactly the point I was trying to make, Francis. I think if we decide this on the 8th of March, you know, we don't have to have these things built and installed by the 8th of March.
That's true.
As long as we made the decision and made a commitment on these things, I think we're good.
Okay.
If I can jump in, I don't believe that the Nature Preserve Committee has any permission from anyone, and the town has not been very helpful. I mean, we would need town approval, then we're going to collect money on town land, highway department, and they might have just been talking about one rack. So I don't think it's something that would move quickly, or it was really definite at all. There is no permission beyond their conversations.
Yeah, because the Nature Preserve Committee is strictly an advisory committee. At the end of the day, town board's got to approve this.
Right.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but at the same time, guys, I think this is something that probably could go quickly if a member of the town board wanted to bring it up and carry it through. But I think they're gonna the best way of doing that is having having something in the record from the Nature Preserve Advisory Committee to the town board that they've sanctioned this. So if we can try and make a commitment to make a decision by the 8th of March, then I think we can get this back to the Nature Preserve Committee, and perhaps they'd be ready for the beginning of April. And we might even be able to get sort of a tacit sort of approval from one of the town board members that they think that this is viable and would fly.
Right, John, you want to move on to the next line?
Yeah. Well, just before this, I mean,
Bless you.
I'm not sure where this leaves us with a design if we're going to go ahead with this.
If you want a design, John, I can put a design together and have it for our next meeting.
I can give you a couple ideas too, Jim.
I'd
Our
like,
heads together. I'll send you a sketch.
I'd just like to put in a word for the PVC thing. I mean, my feeling is it's simple, it's cheap, it's light, it can be brought there and taken off the beach, and it doesn't have to last forever. And
I mean, you could spray. You can spray paint them green, maybe. I don't know, something just to kind of. But you can do other materials too, like wood and maybe some pipe wrap. Thin, kind of gray green.
I just want to say that when I was looking at the racks, John and everyone, that I was curious as to how you would have fixed these two beaches because they looked as though they needed to be secured on wood. And I like the idea of staying in the natural wood for the racks because I think that's more indigenous to where we live. It looks more like our community as opposed to seeing metal racks that look to me to be more of a park, if you would, like where jungle gyms are. They didn't look that sturdy to me. I like the traditional wood rack. They kind of blend into the environment, but that's my aesthetic feeling.
Well, any rack is going to have to be either dug into the beach, or if it's placed on the beach, it's going to have to be just secured with a some kind of an anchor, like an earth anchor, chained to an earth anchor or something, so somebody can't just drag it away.
Right, but the pictures of the pre-made racks that you had submitted, they look as though they need to be fixed to a dock with screws or nails.
Some of them,
Just one of
some of
them.
them are, and they would have to be some kind of structure constructed underneath them to mimic the dock surface, and then that would have to be secured to the beach somehow as well. Or any of those designs are kind of made to be sitting on a solid surface, whether it's a dock or whether it's the showroom floor or whatever it is. So there has to be some modification to be able to bring it onto the beach.
Right. Well, I still like the natural look best. I think it blends in with the environment, but.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I was kind of thinking in terms of, we don't know how much, call for this there's going to be. So if we start small and simple and cheap, we don't have to commit to this forever. Anyway, that's just my thought. So.
It's never easy to take something away that you've given. It may be a forever commitment.
We can up the ante on the design at any time. Rather than go like with $1 million looking rack, you're going to use it or it's not going to be received well. What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the next category, the final category, is questions on the moorings. The first point is that we grant a second mooring, which would be a rope and pulley mooring for someone who has an offshore swing mooring, so that they can put a tender next to the beach to access the larger boat offshore. And then this final point is with the moorings, if there's a waiting list for moorings in a given location, the commercial fishermen be given priority for the spot over recreational applicants, even if that fisherman isn't on the waiting list. And we have a case like that in Accabonac. So those are all the
I think they're all good points.
I make a motion that we
Accept them.
agree with these and give this direction to the office.
I'll second it.
Second.
Except for the ugly paddleboard rack.
Except for that PVC paddleboard rack.
Yeah.
And the three racks at Last Point.
Yeah.
Well, the three racks we decided, March 8th.
Right. Okay.
So who is
All right.
seconding this vote? I heard Rick and I heard Jim. It's up for grabs.
I
Give it
think
to
Jim,
Okay.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Oh, I have one thing I'd like to add. Should we let the public know, as long as we're on camera here, that to get the how to go about getting your permits for the lottery or your application, to call our offices? And do we want to let everyone know how much they are for the season, if we changed the price for the
We have not
permit?
changed the price at this point.
Okay.
Arlene?
I have a thought.
Yeah.
Maybe
Mike?
we could appeal to the Boy Scouts or some other kids clubs to try to come up with some natural looking designs that kind of blend into the environment. Maybe use local items, or maybe even like the locust posts that end up sometimes broken or lost from the pound nets. Maybe we could lash something together. We could have a little contest and offer an award to some kids club organization to come up with a cool design for us for a good board rack.
That's cute. I like that idea, Michael.
Like the idea. The only thing is, guys, we're on a time constraint.
Yeah.
This is a nice idea if it was September, but
Yeah,
I think
okay.
we're gonna be timely in our.
Well, if we're starting small, and only going to put a few racks up to see how it works out, maybe Mike's idea is great for the following year to work on that.
Now that would be great. You know, the difficult thing, and I'm going to point to the Boy Scouts, is, hey guys, COVID has taken a lot of these youth group organizations and put them in somewhat of disarray. It's been very difficult for these groups to meet over this past year, and I can speak for the Montauk Boy Scout troop. It would be very difficult to organize something along those lines right now, for the simple fact that our charter organization does not even allow the Boy Scouts to meet at their designated site. So I think next year.
But if we're talking about next year, we could start the planning now, because we all know it takes time to get these things organized. And I'd also like to say, beside the Boy Scouts, there are the Girl Scouts.
Sure.
Yes.
You know, let's get everybody in there.
It could be conceptual from their minds in their, from their Zoom meetings.
My neighbor's granddaughters are Girl Scouts, so they might be interested. I was the first girl in my school to take shop and build a desk, so we all know how many years ago that was.
You can put Mike in charge of the Boy Scouts and Susan in charge of the Girl Scouts.
We'll make pink racks with blue polka dots.
No.
They'll be the PVC ones.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me, we don't have any plastic. No, we're gonna have balloons tied onto yours.
Actually, I was thinking of using balloons.
We're going to use deer antlers.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to committee reports. Harbor Management, review of the Clearwater Beach Property Owners Association's 2020 dredging project.
I think we're all set on that. I had gone down there basically right after they dredged and measured the piles. It did take me a little time to have Neve in my office do the calculations, but the yardage arrived at was 752.3, I think. So we settled on 750 yards. Arlene has invoiced Clearwater. We've discussed it. They were in agreement with the yardage that we came up with, and they will be paying that bill in its entirety in a timely manner, and they're going to handle whatever contributions internally that Lionhead may be chipping in here.
Jim, did Jim Carforo give you any idea of what the destination of this spoil would be?
I mean, at the present time, they do have a couple of projects that they do need some sand fill between Lionhead and Clearwater. There are some properties down along Kings Point Road that are going to need a considerable amount of sand. So what we did discuss is them stockpiling and holding on to that material, because in all likelihood, they'll be able to actually use it right in the community there.
I'm going to interrupt as long as we're on harbor management. Would someone please write a paragraph about what harbor management does for our website? I'm trying to get all of those descriptions together.
I thought Mike Martinson had signed up for that detail and promised that he was going to get it in a week ago.
I thought Mike was doing aquaculture with.
I'll do the harbor management one, Susan.
Would you do that?
I'm just breaking your chops, Mike.
Aquaculture and I'll do the.
Write that poem. Yes, Susan.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's hard for me to talk. So Rick, would you send that to me and Arlene and Allison? Yeah. Then I forward everything. I just want to make sure that, the typos or anything.
Yeah. I've been sending everything in to Arlene and Allison, I think.
I know, send it to me. Because
Okay,
I
I'll
work
send it to
directly
you.
with Michael Hansen, so that would be
Roger
great.
that.
Okay, thank you very much, Rick.
My pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Pump out boats. I think we got some good news on that.
Yeah. With respect to the pump out boat, or boats, it looks like Arlene has said that we tentatively have the funding for our second boat. Okay, and that's just pending actually receiving it in writing. So I was wondering if the board would be willing to perhaps vote on that tonight, contingent on us actually getting the funding here.
Yep, I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
What are we exactly voting on?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Purchasing a second pump out boat.
Yeah, I was going to say, the motion would be the purchasing of a second pump out boat identical to the one that we already have in production, which, by the way, is up for sea trial this Friday.
Great.
And we have funding for both of them, or?
We've got basically a verbal commitment on the second boat. Arlene had to just resend a hard signed copy that they had not received yet. She actually sent it again, and I believe it's really just a rubber for them to send us a hard copy of the written commitment back.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna cover about 65,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we still have the balance. Is the board willing to pick up that cost?
I think
Essentially,
Balance is how much?
we're going to apply to the CPF fund again for the balance, I assume, right?
Yes.
And how much is the balance?
Well, it's
30,
48.
45-ish?
45?
48? Thought it was 48?
48,
Yeah, I said-
50, something in that neighborhood.
Okay,
Under 50, is that fair?
That's
Yes.
okay. So Bill,
I'd support under 50 and we move forward and get this done. We've got a lot of pressure on the pump out facilities and we need first-rate equipment to get it done. Last year was a real struggle and I don't think we want to find ourselves there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we I guess it must have been Brig had asked about getting another pump or whatever. It sounds like these pumps were getting rebuilt in sort of an ad hoc manner. I'd like to try and get these pump out boats where we're doing preventative maintenance over the off-season months. And we may be coming back to the board at our next meeting for the purchase of a additional pump as a backup, and also sending one of the pumps out on the 3 Mile Harbor boat to get rebuilt.
By the company?
By the company. I don't know that we want to vote. I don't want to vote on this tonight because I want to have a chance to talk to the guys about it first to find out exactly what we're looking for.
Are you talking about sending them out at the end of the season or
No,
before it
sending them out this year before the season gets started. Looks like we
Okay.
may be looking to purchase another pump as a backup unit,
Right.
and sending out the pump on the boat from 3 Mile Harbor to get rebuilt.
Okay. Now, what do we plan to do with the old boat?
There is no old boat. We're trading it in.
traded in.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got whatever it is. I think it's going to be around.
We have a motion to authorize purchase of the other boat contingent on
Yeah.
us getting the grant.
and I seconded it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up, and Francis, I'm glad you brought up the old boat because actually it'd be like a $15,000 credit related to the old boat. It's gonna that the new boat will be friggin' 15 grand less roughly.
Jim, just
I just wanted to make sure, so we're contingent on the $60,000 grant, and
Yeah.
we're receiving another 15,000, so we're up to 75. And CPF will probably do it, but if not, at that point, we're not gonna
Well,
have
I'm
that
gonna
much,
be honest, at
30.
that point, I think we could talk about funding this in-house. You know, we've got some income coming in this year with some of these transfers in Lazy Point. There's some proceeds left from the monies from PSEG. So, it's,
And sand.
and
I mean, we're
yeah,
getting 2 boats for about 45 grand. I think
It's
I
not
have no
bad,
problem
yeah.
putting some skin in the game.
all right.
Yeah.
I think the CPF money will come through as well.
Yeah, we should,
More than last time. I think they'll buy our rationale.
yeah. You know, and
Well,
we
in case
should
it doesn't.
obviously put in for the CPF money, but I think we should authorize it, you know, regardless.
Mhm.
I agree.
Okay, so is there anyone opposed? No one's opposed. Okay, we're good.
Jim, just out of curiosity, what's the ballpark on a new pump, a rebuild
It's
pump?
about $6,000.
Thanks.
And what,
All right.
one of the reasons we're trying to get this sorted out fairly early is they've gotten a notice from the manufacturer that they're kicking up their pricing about 3% here in the next couple of weeks. I don't think we should let that 3% increase drive our decision making, because you know, we're really talking about $180.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
All right. Roads, we did Shore Road. Then we're down to administrative payment of the bills. Staples, $357.12 for 2 APC battery backup power strips and other supplies. Marine Boat Builders, $54,285.36. That's the balance of the new boat payment due on delivery. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to pay it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Excuse me. We have minutes for January 25th. Anybody have a chance?
I read them and sent in corrections or suggestions, I should say, and they look fine to me now.
I'll make a
Anybody
motion.
else?
Accept the minutes.
Who is that?
Second.
Dawn?
Does
I'll make a motion.
And I'll
Rick
second.
second?
Me,
I
Susan.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Okay, and we also have minutes for February 8th.
Also,
Anybody have a chance?
I sent them back in. I think, John, you did the bulk of them before I did, and they looked good.
I did both, yeah. I make a motion we accept those minutes as well.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, great. And last but not least, we have the
Sorry.
financial reports for the month ended January 31st. Anybody have a chance to look at it?
Not yet.
Okay,
Table,
so
please.
put it on the table. All right, does anybody else have anything they want to discuss tonight?
Well, we received payment for Louse Point, for sand transportation.
Sounds good.
Yep, so we're up to date on
Good job,
that.
Bill.
Oh, I know. We did receive a letter of engagement from Hodgson Russ for the election law change. I'll send it out to the rest of you. We got it late today. It's very similar to the one we've had for our first engagement with them. Do we want to go ahead and move forward with that?
They're not asking for a retainer on this, are they?
No, they're not asking for anything.
Okay. All right. So I'd like to make a motion to accept the proposal from Hodkin and Russ. Our committee's had a couple conversations with Dan. Because of some of the trustee history, just to bring everybody up to speed, we're going to have to go to the state legislature to do this, okay? Because we've done that in the past. So Susan and I set up an appointment with Fred Thiel's office for March 12th.
But Jim, may I interrupt 1 second and just, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Dan was here before you arrived, so we're going to have another session. And we can just leave it right there.
Yeah, that's fine, but we're just discussing engaging with him on this.
Okay.
There were two letters of engagement.
No. We're only talking about one tonight.
Okay.
The other one's going on hold.
All right. So, motion to
Need to vote on this tonight? Is this?
To retain his services for this, yes.
This is for helping us through the changing the terms of trustee tenures.
Right. So
We have a motion.
Jim made a motion.
Jim made a motion. We need a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, great. Anybody else?
I just want to remind everybody, get your paragraphs to me, please, before the end of this week. Friday's the last day, so I can submit them to Michael for our website.
Oh,
Thank
hey,
you.
Susan, you know what I wanted to bring up
Yes.
is if Michael's involved in the website, apparently on our website, we still have the old sand fencing law that was there when I got on the board. And the only reason I know that is Billy Hayjack called me the other day because the village is trying to create some initiative and some consistency in their handling of sand fences. And he pointed out that basically we haven't changed anything on our website related to the sand fencing. So perhaps Michael can do that too.
Do we have an update on sand
We
fencing?
should, yeah. We approved something over a year ago.
Okay, well, then we need to add that and update it. So Arlene
Sure.
or Allison, would that be in our file then, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
sure it is. And if we're doing that, if we could send a copy of that over to Billy Hayjack in the village, they'd appreciate it.
Okay, very
Thank you.
good.
Thank you for reminding me.
Okay. All right.
Stay dry.
Okay.
Okay,
Anyone
Jim.
else?
Motion to close?
All
We
right.
have a motion to close.
So motion to close.
We
Second.
have it already.
Okay,
All
I'm
in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Good night, Matt.
Good night.
Have a good
job.
night.
Good night, ladies.
All right.